Alright, we are recording. It's going medieval. Continuing in this. Key was provided by Tinsley PR for the Irregular Corporation, who are the publisher. Foxy Voxel is the developer. It helps that the pop-up, not exactly pop-up, but when the loading screens at the start of the game tells you all that. Well, developer and publisher. Not all games really identify the developer that well. I mean, sometimes. Not always. Alright, there. Who's rebellious? You, I don't care. I was exhausted, then go to sleep. In fact, you'd only have just woken up now. At least would have needed to wake up now. Anyway, I got a few things noted. Talk about. See, already no longer upset. Carrots. I tried looking at some stuff, like any hints on how to do some of this better. Did not see anything. Except maybe red currant, because if you eat the red currant, it might actually be very efficient. I'm not sure if you really can. No, it is edible. Okay. Oh, what? No, not that. Hang on, there we go. There. That would be perfect. How did that fox even die? Anyhow, one thing I don't have noted. I don't remember if I was saying this. One thing I don't have noted, but I did read on it. I did read the thing on it. It is kind of interesting. Is apparently this week, NVIDIA's offices in France were raided. Yeah. So, the reasoning is apparently France is looking into looking into them for anti-competitive practices. It was basically France's antitrust enforcement organization that was looking into this. Okay, it looks like I can. Oh wait, no, there's still one. Although, yeah, we think can do there. But yeah, they apparently have concerns about how NVIDIA is doing some stuff specifically with AI and cloud computing. Which settlers? Wow, a lot of cats just died. Then go to sleep. I'm sorry, I really don't mind. Go ahead, go to sleep. Here, actually, no, I shouldn't have done that way. I should have just done this. Yeah, that apparently they are concerned that NVIDIA might be, like, overcharging and such. I remember clearly it was, like, overcharging, because, like, some of the AI cards that NVIDIA makes, what are the temperatures actually? Yeah, so they should stay in window clothes for now. Anyway, yeah, some of them that they make are so expensive, the concern is that they might be pricing them in such a way that it would prevent smaller competition in the cloud compute space. I think was part of it, that it's, like, if you're charging $10,000 or more per card, it would only be Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Facebook, and the like, already very large companies that could ever equip a data center with that kind of stuff. So it might, just basically be guaranteeing that only those that could pay the exorbitant rates would ever actually have access to the technology. And there may have been some other stuff as well, but it's like, that was the gist that I got from one of the things. I just don't remember which source it was that was pointing that out, but yeah. I mean, it is one of those, technically you shouldn't. I could see an argument that technically, if the market allows it to be priced that high, then that's how it should be allowed. But at the same time, it can be one of those, yeah, but if you're manipulating the market to inflate the price of things so that you only have customers that can pay that, that's not exactly healthy for the market either. So But yeah, we'll just see what comes of that. The fact they rated means it's kind of significant, but at the same time, it might not work out to actually be anything too harsh on NVIDIA in the long run. Let me see what else I got. I got El Paso Elsewhere. That review came out. And there is stuff about that worth talking about. Unity changes to the license, so it's like that actually came out last week. But I didn't see it in time to cover it. I don't recall. Yeah, that came out too late. I didn't, because I record these on Friday, and typically in the morning. I'm a little late today because of some stuff coming up. Yeah, just last week I didn't have the time to. Well, I did this too early to be able to talk about it. And then also Epic Games has had some layoffs. I actually want to start with the El Paso Elsewhere review. Not just because, hey, the review's finally out, but because I had to do it a little differently than I have previously done reviews, and some might argue how I should do reviews. I don't know, I think it's fine. You know what, hang on, I just turn those down to low. I might actually want to stop, turn them off to conserve fuel. So, since I've been working, my free time that I could spend doing reviews is less, for obvious reasons, I think. So what I've tried to do, what works out best, I basically have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Because I don't work full time. Sorry. That isn't, and I lose like Friday morning because I have certain things I need to get done Friday, like recording this, so my ability to do concentrated efforts and reviews is not what it once was. And because of that, with how the timing was with El Paso Elsewhere, how long I could expect the playthrough to be, and I also just wasn't feeling that great during that week. I am feeling better now. I was blaming it on just the temperature changes that have been happening around here. Just fluctuations and things seem to have evened out some now. Anyway, because of that, what I did is I put in about 3.5 hours, I think it was. Might have been 4. I don't remember. I do state it in the review on Saturday. And then I decided, instead of just trying to play the game on Sunday, and then have to write it in evenings across multiple days, to instead just knuckle down and try to write the review on Sunday, on the next day. I felt that would be best. And I do think that it worked out well, because why is it coming up here? Anyway, at that mark of time, and I talked about this in part 4 of the review playthrough, which was the first part I recorded after writing up the review. For most games, you should have an understanding of if you like it or not, why you like it or not, within like the first 2 hours. And I was past that. I was like 3 to 4, somewhere in there. And I put an update, an edit at the end of the conclusion of the review, just saying that now that I finished the game, because I have finished it, I was like, there's nothing here I would change. I mean, it would have just been like putting in details, but none of my general conclusions would have been altered. And I did also try to explain that for me, because the game didn't really connect with me for the first half. I'll explain that. Because it didn't really connect with me in the first half, playing it differently, where I wasn't so hyper-focused on getting it done. Sorry, I'm just, what temperature? Oh, it's, okay, yeah, I can see right there. And who is it? There. Vet. Let's see what they got. There. Anyway, what I was saying, I know this is distracting me, which is why I've closed my eyes and looked away. My eyes open now, but I'm still looking away. Because of how it wasn't really connecting with me, it was getting kind of dull. And for that reason, I do think that changing how I was playing, where I was doing like some in the evening, like an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours in the evening, and then stopping the start up again the next day. So that felt more appropriate for me. Uh, there's nothing to click on here. Why is it highlighting? um, but yeah, so it's like that there were. It made it more comfortable to play. Even though and I try to explain this in the review, it's stressful. You might not realize how stressful, and I know I've talked about this before, you might not realize just how stressful it is to play a game on mic and have to focus on the game for long hours at a time. It's not the easiest. Like streamers that do it for a living, well, true, they're doing it for a living, that gives them more incentive, but people just doing it, that's a lot. It really is stressful. You might not understand how stressful it is, but it is stressful. So giving myself that break, I think, helped with that game. Because some games, yes, pouring that much time, awesome, amazing. Like, I remember I actually averaged with The Witcher 3, because I did 150 hours in that in 10 days. So I averaged 15 hours a day on that. I love that game. I do not love El Paso elsewhere that way. I don't. Those all summer. If they were winter, I'd sell those. Although, wait, why do I have so many? Fine is better than... Alright. But it still is, I can get rid of those. Because they should just use these. Okay. And the winter clothes... Well, they might be holding on to some. There... And I'm gonna need more than that. To make this even, or he's gonna love me. Don't think I need barley. I need seeds. But yeah, so while basically the sum of what I was trying to say, summary of it, is that while I do think that I don't want to do it that way in the future, I do think that how it worked out well. I do think that playing and reviewing the game in that way, like, get the initial, like, if I have to do it in the future, I'm going to be comfortable doing that. I hope I don't need to do that in the future, but I might need to. That's kind of the situation. Okay, that's what I thought. It's not like I could get the chickens out of that. Although, with how they keep complaining. Okay. Although, hey, what was the other thing? The cabbage seeds. I don't really need cabbage seeds. But it was something. Okay. Then we can back off on the eggs. There. So it still is in their favor, but I'm getting a bit more out of it. But yeah, so it's like, I hope I won't need to do it that way in the future, but if I must, I think it worked. Now, I do want to talk, because I even said that it was dull for the first half, but it could be just because I didn't have so much pressure with the review, and I didn't have the time pressure, the time crunch on me, that it did feel better as I continued playing it, from where I picked up. That doesn't... Some of the issues that I have with, though, that might just mean some of the issues I have with it are specific for the first half of the game, but as I also do talk about in the part 4 of the review, the first of the playthrough, the first one after I finished the review, that's not good enough. It's like, if the first half of a game is not enjoyable, it doesn't matter if the second half is really enjoyable, because you're going to stop playing before you get to the end. I mean, it's like, it needs to be more consistent. So it's like, I do hold games to that standard. So the how dull it was getting, it's like, yeah, that's didn't really change, and a lot of it really didn't change. The story definitely got a lot more interesting, but why did it take that long to get that interesting? And I do still consider it to have pacing problems. I am glad boss fights finally started to happen, but it was still just, the pacing of those didn't feel right either. Not like within the boss fight, but how they were placed. Yeah, it still has every weakness that I was talking about in it. It's like they were all still there. But I did find it a bit more enjoyable because some of the action got more interesting. Like, it did seem like they were throwing more enemies at me in more interesting ways. Which is, it was not true in the beginning. Even then, it still was not that great. I mean, one thing I pointed in the review, basically the first 3 enemies you are introduced to in the game, they're vampires, but I'm just going to call them zombies because that's basically what they were, the basic trash mob. Werewolves that a little bit lighter as far as how much HP they have, but they can lunge at you from great distance. They leap at you. And this thing called, that I kept referring to as the Damned Bride, because that's how they're described. She has the ability to teleport and to do ranged attacks, charging up ranged attacks that track you a little bit. They were the most intimidating of all the enemies. There were other enemies, but it's like, there's the knights that they're, like, you know, statues that may come alive and then attack you, but it's like, yeah, so, I mean, it's, a lot of them don't come alive, don't do anything, so it's like, they really become more just decoration than a threat. More decoration than danger, I guess, is a way to put it. And then there were also the angels, which are flying enemies that are ranged. But it's like, yeah, they're really easy to spot, they're big, and so they're not that hard to hit either. So the Damned Brides are way more threatening. I mean, it's like, legitimately, and even the boss, it's like, the boss is kind of big, running away from it wasn't that always that difficult. I mean, it's like, yeah, it legitimately was, like, just easier. Well, some of the later enemies weren't that big a threat. The initial ones that, when they throw them at you in sufficient numbers, that was threatening. And so it got more interesting later on. It seemed like they were a bit more aggressive in throwing them at me. And I'm good with that. I'm happy with that. Just trying to decide, how do I... Wait. Oh. Okay, then I will do it that way. Oh, I can't? That's super annoying. There's no way for me to get to this tree. Because I'm not allowed to build in that area. Anyway, but yeah, so it's like, I do stand by all the conclusions I have in there. The pacing problems, that's the biggest thing. That's why I gave it a 2 instead of a 3. I still enjoyed the game. I got criticisms for it. But it's largely the pacing that's why I gave it the 2. That's how it was weakened. I'm trying to remember, what was it I wanted to do? It might have been cooking. Trying to get to that would be good. I think cooking, because of how they complain. It's like, maybe I can do that and get... Oh, yeah, and also getting to preserving food too, that would be good. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I really have much more to say on it. Just, I mean, the whole idea to my recommendation categorization thing, where it's, I recommend, fail to recommend, and recommend against, corresponding to 3, 0, and -3. And then the flavors, it's like a 2 is a weaker recommendation, but still a recommendation, and a 1 is fail to recommend, but it's flavored towards recommend, so it's like, I could see fixing these things and it'll be fun. This was like, no, it was fun, but it has some weaknesses. But it is also, there's significant enough weaknesses, I'm not sure how you could just fix the game. It's like, you know, the pacing issues were ones where it's like, no, you couldn't really do anything with that. Because some of it was just the story pacing, where it's like, why am I only finding out about some of the stuff this late into the game? And also, why is it like, yes, the story's advancing, it's getting more interesting, and then nothing happens in the gameplay that supports it. It's like, hey, it would... I'm trying to think of a good analogy. It would be like introducing the Emperor in Star Wars, and then nothing. I mean, it's like there's no threat posed by the Empire, no greater threat posed. I mean, it's like, let me see, he's introduced Empire Strikes Back. I'm just trying to remember. Yes, it was before the actual invasion of Hoth. Imagine you introduce the Emperor telling you have to do this. It's like, so that's introduced to the story. And then the invasion of Hoth, it's like, so that's like in the first 15 minutes of the movie, let's say. Then the invasion of Hoth is at the end of the movie. And nothing happened in the middle. That's the kind of pacing problem I mean, where it's like the actual action doesn't get any payoff. Well, it doesn't pay off the story near when the story needs a payoff. I mean, it does later. In the latter half, it does get better there, but it's like, you need to get that nailed down in the beginning, too. And as I also say in that part 4, and I know I've talked about before, you will not see a game that's bad suddenly become good just by putting more time into it. A bad game stays a bad game at the start stays a bad game at the start. Okay, because it's like you're gonna stop playing by then. Your impressions are set. You can have a good game fall apart and stop being good at the end. Like a game can get worse. It can't really get better from continued time in there. Not without things substantially changing, which I'm saying I don't consider endgame. Like, oh yeah, you got to the end game now. The late game's like, that's when it really opens up. It's like, so often in games, that's a completely different experience. Completely and utterly different. So it's not fair to, I mean, you want to talk about that experience in a review potentially, but if you have to put in dozens of hours to get there, it's the dozens of hours you want to talk about, because that's what the majority of people do. Endgame is like I think for some games it'll be less than 5% of the players, because that's as far as they care. Yeah, I mean, it's like that is a reality. I think I've rambled on enough about that. But again, I do recommend the game. I did enjoy it. It has weaknesses to pacing, and yeah, but I did like it in the end. There was some story stuff that when it was first introduced was the story, and this I give it as a criticism, but more as a description of it than an actual, I don't like this or I do like this. I'm kind of neutral on it. There were some things in the story that were introduced where it's like, where the hell did this come from? And I talk about it in the review playthrough that it's like, if this didn't get a payoff, if the specific event did not get a payoff, I would have edited the review to complain about it because it felt wedged in. It did get paid off. But it's like, it was like they dropped something very heavy, and then you only get the explanation of how it was elevated up above you later. You only got something later to explain how it was so high up above you that it could fall much later. And it's like, not necessarily the biggest fan of writing that way, but I understand it, and it's like, it got the payoff, so I'm satisfied. But if it hadn't been, then it would have been this just came out of nowhere. But no, I do like how it ultimately turned out. It just wish it were tighter. Alright, so the other things I got noted here. Yeah, the Unity changing licensing stuff, which as I said was last week, but too late last week for you talk. What? What was that about cattle arriving? Hang on. That's not it. No. Overview. Okay, I mean, it's just that. I don't know. Maybe it's just there's somewhere in. Well, no, that. Oh no, because it could be in here. Yep, right here. I have no idea where it is. Yeah, go. Let's see if we can. Oh, it's actually not that far away. Let's see if we can train that. That would be awesome. Get some more cattle. But anyway, with Unity, so they have the personal license, which is the lowest level license, supposed to be free. The runtime fee thing, which was the main reason people were so pissed at Unity. That was every time the runtime was installed, they wanted a fee. The analogy I used for that was, like if a printer wanted the author or publisher of a book to pay every time somebody opened up the book. Or open up the book to read, well, and technically anytime they open up the book, which is absolutely ridiculous. But that's what they were asking for. On the personal license, they've completely backed off. No, it's not going to have the runtime fee at all. For the Pro and Enterprise licenses, it is there, but there's some significant changes. Developers would have the option of going with a 2.5% revenue share or the runtime fee, and they report. It's the developer that will report one way or the other, well, for whichever. Let me try that again. It is the developer that will report what the revenue was or what the number of installs were. So if the developer has that number, they could use that instead. Previously, Unity was saying that they were going to be tracking it, which is a problem because it was definitely one of those, how? How are you doing this? And how can we trust it? I put forward the thing when I talked about one of these past weeks, that they were like, oh yeah, don't worry, if there's like piracy or something, we'll take care of that. We don't want to count that. It's like, yeah, but is that you get the money and it's I can do that too, actually. And it's and it's just disputed and they hold on to the money for a time? Or is it that, no, they actually... I mean, it was very dangerous, in my opinion, how that was being set up, how that was being described. That you could have it where... there was a bunch of piracy. The developer was like, hey, don't count this against us. It was pirated, and they're like, okay, well, give us the money, and then we'll... and then we'll sort it out later. It's like, yeah, that could really hurt a lot of developers. Having to fork over money that ultimately they're not responsible for, and then trying to get it back. So this, with being self-reporting, I'm sure that's significant, and also probably just to allay fears of how the hell are you tracking this information, Unity? But it was also, I don't remember if I said it or not, supposed to be the lesser of the two payments that a developer would have to give. I don't know about that one. I don't know how much... It was weird how it was described. Because it was like... you have the choice here, but it will always be the lesser of the two, which is not a choice, technically. I mean, it's... I'm saying you would have to report both? I don't know. I don't know. That just seemed odd to me, how that was, but whatever. Let me check the notes if I have anything else. Oh yeah, and also the runtime fee is not retroactive. This was another huge thing. It'll only start being applied for Unity Pro and Enterprise licenses with the next LTS version of Unity, which means anything currently in development, right, that's on a version that the runtime fee isn't applied to. If you continue to develop on that, the runtime fee will never be applied. Okay, it will be under the current license, which that's how it should have been. I'm sorry, that was so stupid. It's like, oh yeah, and it's retroactive. It's like, what? So you just suddenly committed to something. I mean, it's using the Star Wars reference. I've changed the terms of our agreement. Pray I don't change them again. That's kind of what Unity was doing there. But it's still, as much as this is probably a far better license, it's also something I cannot imagine. The developers that were like, nope, we're out. I can't imagine bringing any of them back. All I could see this doing is those who haven't started yet, who still need to make a decision yet on what engine they want to use, it may just allay them. Where it's like, okay, yeah, we can do Unity. Or maybe not. Maybe they'll be like, no, this kind of thing we can't have happen. No, come on. we can't risk it happening, I guess would be another way to put it. Cool. That did actually get domesticated. So I should now have 3 cattle. Yep. Well, it's not... What? I'm just... Hang on. It's not in the animal pen yet. So do that. I don't want to train them up to pets, though, is part of it. So that's you. So actually, then, I think I want to stop training this one. Yeah. But I do want this one trained, at least so it actually, you know, appears. Go away, go away, go away. But yeah, so it's the damage to Unity might already be done. We'll just have to see. But yeah, it's also kind of funny, the whole Unity having this trouble and Epic having to lay off 830 employees about. Yeah, so apparently, based on the open letter that they published, and it was apparently sent out to the employees earlier, and then they published it openly for everyone to see. But apparently, I don't want saplings there. Apparently, Epic has been spending more than they've been bringing in for a while, so they've been operating in the red for a while, because they thought that they could power through it, that they would just have the funds to make it through until things turned around. And it's basically, we were wrong, is what they've said, is we were wrong, that is not how it has happened, and, you know, they're apologizing for that, because they're having to lay off so many people. They've also they've spun off a marketing division called Super Awesome. I don't know as much about that, but also they are divesting themselves of Bandcamp. That will now... I don't remember the name of the thing that's now going to be the full owner of... Well, at least larger owner of it. But yeah, so that's been spun off, and apparently just between those two things is over 200, I think it is. Hang on. Do I have them in my notes? I'm not seeing it, but a significant portion. It was over 200, I just don't remember where exactly over 200. Of the layoffs are actually from the divesting and the spinning off. So those people will potentially still have their real job, still have their jobs, so just not under Epic. Everyone that has been laid off, though, they were offering severance package towards like 6 months of pay, well, Epic base pay, and for those in the US, Canada, and Brazil, 6 months of Epic paying healthcare, and also acceleration for vesting, so like money going into stock in the company that can then grow over time. Things like that. So it does seem like they are trying to do their best to take care of these people. But it is also the reality that, you know, it's they are not Epic employees anymore. But one thing that they also explained is that, yes, Fortnite is growing. The thing is that a lot of that growth is with creator content, which has revenue share. Which, I mean, that's awesome for those creators. The catch is, why does it keep coming up here? Are you kidding me? He's putting them here. Why not here? He's literally coming... Alright. Thing is, because the creator content is... I've got gold? Did I set this up to... Yeah, I did. Okay. Because creator content is revenue shared, it's lower margin for Epic, so so they don't make as much money with that. But they are still bringing in money, so that's helpful. The growth there will help them. It's just not enough for them to not do these layoffs. And also talked about how they apparently are doing Son of a bitch. Oh wait, no, these are pets. That's fine. I mean, I don't like that they're doing that. Why are these things not being cooked? Hey, who's got a good culinary? 20. 7. 26. 11. 6. 5. 12. Okay. So once they're awake, I'm making them deal with this. Although, oh, hey, it's Death, however you, should legitimately already be doing this. Look at that, it's number 1. Only construction, there's nothing to construct. Convalescence, she's not sick. Patient, she's not sick. I honestly do not understand the system. I don't think it's working right. I really don't. Anyway, Epic also has a net zero employment policy, meaning they're not going to grow their company. For a new position to be opened up, somebody needs to leave. Kind of a weird thing. Okay, I need to wait until 6. I mean, just... I'm guessing that there must be some slack in that. It's not just a straight... You must lose somebody to gain somebody. Because that just seems too harsh. Like, if Epic, would have like, oh man, we're seeing this one developer would be, coming up, like he's doing a lot of mods, it'd be awesome if we could hire him. Oh, well, we can't until Joe quits. I have a feeling that's not how that quite works. It might be well, we can, but, it's... The heck? This makes no sense. I can't make them do this. Hang on. Okay, did grab the deer. That's good. I'm sorry, it's so weird how this stuff works. And very annoying. What? What? No? What? You're kidding. Hang on. They really should allow you to group and then, like, store those groups. Anyway. Yeah, well, okay, some of the raw stuff could be. But otherwise, I want it to be meals. I don't... If it's raw, it should be going over there. Here, smoked meat is fine. Because, like, that's already fixed. But actually, no, I take it back. No, just nothing raw over here. Nothing raw over here. Yeah. There. I get all the meat prepared. Thank you. Anyway. But yeah, so it's like, if you want a job at Epic, well, now's not a great time because they just laid a bunch of people off. Although I think they do have some various things listed, it's just how that works. Yeah, it does seem odd, a net zero hiring policy, but I guess it makes sense for a company like Epic, where it's like, yes, they probably have a lot of money coming in, but they also have a lot of expenses, and it's just, you may want to specifically avoid it growing too fast. That there's danger in doing so. I mean, there is. There legitimately would be danger in doing so. They've run into it now. That they may have expanded faster than they could handle. I kind of want to expand that out, which would have to go this way, so. I actually should be stopping. How long? Only about 40 minutes. Well, that's fine. I've got a lot of work to do today. Ooh, good work, though. Good work. I know my brain just turned off. But, yeah, so Epic is just in a little bit of a weird place. But yeah, I mean, I could also see. I will actually save and stuff here. I could also see Valve being net zero like that as well with their hiring as a way to just, because I mean, Valve probably, I don't even want to guess how much money they make, off of Steam, and I might actually be giving them a little bit of money today. I don't, well, no, I do have a copy of the Talos Principle on Epic, but it's like, 545 to get the Talos Principle Gold Edition. I might just do that, and have it on Steam, instead of on Epic. I don't always like launching Epic, and Epic sometimes does weird things as well. But it's also like I used to let Epic launch every day, and have it run all the time. It's like I don't touch it enough to make that worth it. Steam I do, and GOG I like having up as well because of the whole can track all. Well, actually it doesn't work with Steam anymore, but the ability to track what I own across multiple platforms in Galaxy is very nice. Yeah, so they might be getting some out of me, because I do think I will purchase the Talos Principle. Yeah, 90% off the Talos Principle is because the Talos Principle 2 got its release date of November 2nd. And this deal's going until October 10th. Talos Principle 2 is also discount. Well, wait, it's weird. It says October 10th here, but I also saw something that was October 2nd. I don't remember. Hang on. I can look. The October 2nd, I know where that was. Here. Oh no, October 3rd. Okay, you know what? Hang on. I might know. Nope, that's weird. That's very weird. I was like, on Steam, it says that the Talos Principle Gold Edition bundle is discounted by 91% until October 10th. In the press release, it said until October 3rd. I'm not sure. Maybe be cautious and just go a bit soon. If you want to get it, just get it a bit soon. I don't know. It's a little weird, but yeah, and I do figure might as well get the larger one because that does include the Road to Gehenna DLC that I know was very well praised. So yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to mention. No, not really seeing anything in the notes there. And I'm trying to remember if there was anything in the rest of the news to talk about. GOG's 15th anniversary sale is running down. That ends, Monday. And they do have another giveaway for 72 hours, so it'll go until the sale ends. So if you want to pick that up, Trouberbrook. There's an umlaut in there. I might not be pronouncing it correctly. I'm pretty sure that's an umlaut. But yeah, so it's like you can claim that for free if you go to GOG's homepage. And you may just find other things that you want to pick up. Holy crap. I just saw that, because I have it open. Cyberpunk 2077 and Phantom Liberty bundles. That's the base game and the expansion. $64. And that's 20% off. Whew. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition is $15. Yeah, I would do that. I haven't even played the DLC on that. I want to, but I haven't yet. I think I just want to replay the entire game. I'm just having other things to do. But $15, yeah. What's the base game? Actually, wait, no, they don't sell the base game anymore, do they? Oh no, they do have the standard edition. Which, well, the standard edition is $12. I remember with and I promise I will stop talking soon. That the crap, pull it up again. Blood and Wine, that's it. The Blood and Wine DLC for it there was some places talking about when reviewing that's the only time they've actually reviewed a DLC better than the base game. But it was also The Witcher 3 is a 9 to us. This is a 9.5. And we only go by 0.5 increments. It was like, the place was still like, we love The Witcher 3. Blood and Wine is just even better. So, and I cannot speak to that myself. I've never played it. But it is just the whole, personally, I would just get the complete edition. Yeah. Oh, and I did also see one other thing that I could try looking at. I'm not sure when. Not today. I think I'm going to be too busy. FSR 3 is out now. AMD's Fidelity FX Super Resolution 3, so that's the one that has the frame generation stuff in there. It's in Forspoken, and apparently there is a demo for that does include FSR 3, so you can experiment with it for free if you want. It'll be interesting to see how some people review it, but I don't know if I will necessarily do that, not with it just being a demo, and since I don't have, well, true, I do have still, I have relevant GPUs, I don't have the current GPUs, but yeah, I am kind of curious, but it's only curiosity. As I've talked about before, I don't want to do frame generation, I don't want to hallucinate frames, I don't even like the upscaling necessarily. I'm saying I will turn it on, but I have to experiment with it first. I have no understanding of the people that are like, oh yeah, I'll just flip on DLSS so I get extra performance. It's like, what if you don't need that performance? What if the image quality hurts? What if there's other ways that you could get the performance that impacts the image quality less? And it's like, I want to do that. So whenever I see people talking about the whole, oh, well, DLSS is better, it's like, are you checking this? It really frustrates me that people are just declarative that DLSS is better. It's like, it isn't always. It's like The Witcher 3. I use that as the example. When I was testing that at 1920 by 1080, admittedly, FSR 2 in that looked better to me than DLSS 2. Both at the quality settings. But it was also, as I explained there, it comes down to the different artifacting. Both had artifacting. I just found FSR's artifacting to be more tolerable to me. If you prefer the other, if it's the reverse for you, then use DLSS. That's great. Do that, but at least test it. Don't just blindly say that, oh, this is better or that's better. But yeah, so it's like for FSR 3 and DLSS 3, and if there's ever an XESS 2 or 3 that does frame generation, I may experiment with it, but that would be it. I probably wouldn't really bother, especially not the frame generation, because it's inventing these frames. They are hallucinations. That is the actual technical term, because they're not based on reality. But it's like, that's what they are. And my brain just partially turned off there. But it's that, and it's like, it makes the frame rate higher, but not the latency. Although FSR 3 is supposed to have special anti-lag optimizations in there. So does DLSS 3, by the way, with frame generation. That does have that. It does have stuff there as well. So they're both similar technologies, but one is open and will run on basically anything. And like the test system right now has an RTX 2060 in it, and it's like I could boot that up, put Forspoken on there, and it'll just work. I mean, it's like that at least it should. And it's like I won't even have to update the drivers either. I mean, it's like it's that's the situation with FSR 3. DLSS 3, I'd need a 40 series GPU, and it's like I'm not doing that. And I do, by the way, every now and then consider what GPUs I would get. I wouldn't, if I were to just start buying some GPUs for testing, I think I would try to get one of the Intel Arc, is it 750 or 770s? That's like the $250, $300. Be willing to do that. Might do an RX 7600 or 7600 or the 7800. Apparently the 7700 is just in too weird a spot. Like, you might as well go to the 7800. But I did see Level 1 Techs. The thing that basically driver improvements with the 7600, it is a better card than it had been. So it's not necessarily deserving of as much distaste today as it was at launch. It made little sense at launch, but it makes more sense now, essentially. I don't know what I'd do with NVIDIA, though, because it's like the 4060 Ti 16 gig is how expensive? Isn't that like $400, $500? So it's like you'd want to just go to the 4070. But it's like, that's so much more expensive. I don't know if I'd want to spend the money there. But it is also, to be fair, as I made the point before, even the 4060 probably, just the base 4060, is probably gonna, for everything I would be doing with it, completely competent for it, completely good for it. So, see, that's how they get you. They make you think you need to spend more, but in reality, you probably don't. Yeah. But even then, not worrying about it, because hopefully Q4 is starting soon. I'll be hearing from Framework about getting the laptop I ordered, which will have... I did order it with the RX 7700 S or M, whatever the designation is for being a mobile GPU. That'll have that in there. So I'll be able to test RDNA. Yeah, that is RDNA 3, I'm pretty sure. I will be able to test some stuff on that. Just won't be immediately comparable to anything. It's like, that's the major purchase that I need to be concerned with, not discrete GPUs. And it's also, I don't have that much space. Well, if I got one, I'd probably actually end up dropping out the GTX 770. I'm not sure, though. It's fun to test with that because it's so old. You don't know how much fun it is to see something so old still working in certain games. I was like, it would be fine for going medieval. I don't doubt that. For spoken, probably not. Since I was mentioning... Well, I don't know. Maybe if you turn that down far enough. I don't know. But yeah, it still is fun to see what still works and what doesn't. Anyway, I have been blathering on so much. I know, I'm sorry. Anyway, I'll get this stopped, get it processing, get it uploaded, and then get to the other work I have to do today. See you next time.